Swinton a lot, but you don't think they'll have any dual reds really going for them, and I don't think that Huddersfield will slip up. Salford, Toronto.
That's interesting, because Toronto, while they've been coming up against League One sides, have been scoring a hatful of points, and Salford haven't. You're going to have to pick Salford, but I don't think it'll be a cakewalk for them by any stretch of the imagination. I think Toronto will have a big say in this. I think Salford just, maybe by only a couple of scores.
I think it'll end up about 30-16, but there'll be a time at 70 minutes where it's a lot closer than that.
Yeah, maybe so.
Whitehaven, Halifax.
Ooh, let's give it a win to Whitehaven. There's a bit of an upset.
I think Fax will come through that one myself. York v Barrow, so there will be our League One club in the hat for round 6.
Barrow haven't lost all season in the league. You've got to go for them, I'd have thought, even against a plucky Yorkshire side.
Well, York have been throwing in some surprise results.
They have. But they've been inconsistent. And I think Barrow are far from inconsistent.
Yeah. Okay.
NRL Brit picks, Mark. What have we got if we're getting up early?
Raiders Sea Eagles Friday 9 a.m. Rabbitohs Broncos Friday 10:50. Cowboys Knights Saturday 8:30. Sharks Titans Saturday 10:30. West Tigers Bulldogs Sunday at 7, and Roosters Dragons Sunday at 7. They can't be at 7. So Sunday after 7, 9
Sunday
o'clock.
after 7, 9 a.m. it must be. There you go, kids. That is your bumper Easter edition of the Super League pod. All that remains for us to do is wrap up the show. Okay, well, we've pumped you full of Super League goodness, so I'm being given a week off on the trivia this week, Mark. That's exceptionally kind of you. Thank you very much.
Yeah, it's alright. I've got something special planned for next week.
Can't wait. Ahead of my trip. This time next week, by the way, I will be looking down the barrel of about 3 hours sleep before Disney.
Yeah.
So, there you go.
Great.
Can't wait for that. Well, that's what's coming up for me over the next few days, apart from rugby. I'm going to Bolton Abbey tomorrow for a walk and a spot of lunch. But that's what's coming up for me.
Oh, you're off this week, so.
I am, yeah. Disney this week.
So, romantic times.
Disney prep, yeah. Going off, like I say. Going for a windy walk around Bolton Abbey and then for a spot of lunch.
Fair do.
That's my day tomorrow. And then, packing for Disney and stuff.
When I did my cycle across the country, one of the toughest sections was just before and just after Bolton Abbey. We went over Blubberhouses Moor.
Oh, right.
On the main road, and that was quite scary with cars going quite fast past you not being able to go fast at all, and then you flew down. But then after Bolton Abbey we went up a less A-roady road but steeper hilly road,
right?
So it was nice to be away from all the cars, but it was a slog.
It's
so bad memories around there.
Beautiful country, Wharfdale. Any recommendations this week, Mark?
Well, not a recommendation as such, but I'm going to more like a obituary, I suppose. I was talking to, Cass not so much because he wasn't so interested, but I was talking to Aidan about this a bit on Friday before I was too pissed to
recall what you were talking about to Aidan.
to
function.
Yeah. But the Steelers owner, Dan and President Dan Rooney, passed away last week, and he was the sort of second owner of the Steelers, but after his father Art Rooney had set up the team. But he was born the year before the team was formed, and integral in the team turning around from being a kind of a hapless outfit to being the juggernaut of the 1970s and the famous Steel Curtain, and then becoming one of the most consistent and strong, and Ben Roethlisberger's indiscretions aside, quite a moral fibre kind of club. And people have heard of the Rooney Rule, which is probably the greatest legacy. So when Dan Rooney was in charge of the NFL's Equality Committee, he was the person who pushed through that after the great work by other people, obviously, to get it to the position, but pushed through that rule where now an ethnic minority coach has to be interviewed for every head coaching role in the NFL. And it's not just good in that it opens up opportunities to ethnic minorities, but what it actually does is forces clubs to undertake a proper recruitment process. So I think you actually find clubs more often than not making better hires than they maybe would have done, gives new coaches chances. And aside from that, he's always shown a lot of class and grace around what he's done. There's numerous stories of players getting injured, but him making sure they had roles within the club to continue being able to provide for their family if they were unexpectedly ending their careers early. There was a player who'd agreed a contract, but just not got round to getting into the office to sign it, and then the next day suffered a career-ending injury, and he went into Mr. Rooney's office, and Mr. Rooney said to him, well, we both know it was agreed, so we're holding to it, and you're getting your money, don't worry about it.
Bloody hell.
And
classy stuff.
And what I can't remember if it was that instance or another instance of a similar thing happening, but it took the Steelers over the salary cap one year doing that,
right.
So they had to pay like a fine, but still did it to make sure people were able to provide for the family.
Bloody hell.
So an absolute legend, one of sport's great administrators and thinkers. And you know how I always talk around people should respect the interdependence of clubs, put the progress of the league ahead of the progress of their own clubs. The Rooneys are probably why I think like that, as much as anything else, and it's probably one of the reasons why I fell in love so much with the Pittsburgh Steelers as well.
Wow.
So there you go.
That's very eloquently put. I almost don't want to do my recommendation now.
No, it's not time for fun, isn't it now?
Alright, I watched Ramesh Ranganathan's most recent stand-up DVD and laughed my cock off. That's all I had to say. I wish I'd gone first now, because you spoke so beautifully about that guy. Ramesh Ranganathan, I can't remember what he's called now, but you find it on Sky, and he's very, very funny, and one of my favourite comedians. If people want to get in touch with us, Mark, and tell us their thoughts and feedbacks and their innermost ideas about rugby league, how on earth can they go about it?
Well, it's at Super League Pod for your quick hot takes on Twitter, facebook.com/Super League Pod for those who prefer that version of social media, and it is superleaguepod@gmail.com for those who want to email us.
There you go. Have you got anything else to say to the lovely people before we sign off?
Well, obviously the Google form will be up as per normal, but there's only going to be the 4 Super League games on that. So, sorry, I'm just distracted by something. And then,
do carry on.
But I don't know what I'm going to do. If I'm going to put all the Challenge Cup games on the list so people can pick ones, or just let you comment on the ones you've seen, because I'm fed up of putting in all the Championship games and only getting London fans commenting on their games. So
fair play.
So it's effort for me that I don't need to do. Just put London's one up.
And on that grumpy note, we'll say thank you very much for listening and downloading and contributing.
Read the blog inspired by Helen's question, because it is actually quite interesting. I just pretty much laid the facts out there without any sort of opinion, but it is pretty interesting to see that teams do not take advantage as much as they should, spoiler alert, of being a man up.
There you go. It's a marathon, not a sprint, and we've proved it this week with your favourite rugby league podcast, the Super League Pod. We will see you next time for episode 139. Bye for now.